sticking with that one.
Yes.
Not even
Unburdened by this
coconut.
We need to be unburdened by this commission.
We do.
All right. We're starting today. First of all, thank you, everybody, and thank you to all our members who have joined today. My name is Sandy Nurse. I'm the co-chair of the Progressive Caucus. I'm joined here today with the co-chair of the BLAC Caucus, the Black, Latino, Asian Caucus, and many of our members to talk a little bit about this Charter Review Commission today. For those of you who joined us last week, we really spoke about the need for this Charter Review Commission to take the task that they have at hand very seriously. And ensure that there is timely consideration for any proposals that will be on a ballot at any time in New York City. And, really last week what we talked about is that the mayor initiated this Charter Review Commission as a very blatant effort to block our ballot proposal that we passed earlier this year that should and must be on the ballot this November. And that is to give the council more input, more advice and consent, and more transparency on appointing the heads of departments. These are agencies that have so much power. They're responsible for so many things in our city. And it's really important that the council provides that check and balance and transparency on who runs our agencies in order to make sure that we have competent and qualified individuals that we can work with. When the council and agency heads are working together, when they are collaborating and cooperating, that is when you have better outcomes and better results for all New Yorkers. And so today we're going to testify. We are going to say what we need to say to this commission. But really the point of today is that we need to slow down. The commission has plenty of time to hear proposals, develop proposals that could be on a ballot. But right now we have a proposal that should be on the ballot. And if they want to move forward, they should move forward in a deliberate, intentional, and thoughtful way. And that's not what's happening. Right now, they're rushing through proposals. They're trying to put anything on the ballot in order to prevent our proposal from being there. And we say that's very undemocratic. It's in bad faith. And we hope that the commissioners hear our voices today and take this process very, very seriously and do the right thing by all New Yorkers. So I'm not going to take up much time because we got a lot of folks here who want to speak. I'm going to invite the co-chair of the BLAC Caucus, Crystal Hudson, to say a few words.
Thank you so much. You want this or no? Thank you, Councilmember Nurse. And as mentioned, I'm co-chair of the Black, Latino, and Asian Caucus, along with my colleague, Councilmember Kevin Riley. And today we are here to tell the Charter Revision Commission to listen to the will of the people and to keep advice and consent on the ballot this November. This is about one thing, and that is accountability. As elected officials tasked with overseeing a co-equal branch of government, we're held accountable at multiple points. And if only one person picks who runs their agencies, there can be no accountability. And that's why advice and consent is so important. We know that this occurs all over the country, and there's no reason the people who run our city agencies shouldn't be held accountable to the public that they serve. There's no need to rush this, as Councilmember Nurse just said. The commission has the authorization to operate until Election Day 2025. More time means more community input, better ideas, and more support. And the Charter Revision Commission must allow the council's advice and consent law on the November ballot and step back from interfering with the will of the people. I'll now call on my colleague, Councilmember Sylvina Brooks-Powers from Queens. Oops, sorry.
Thank you, and good afternoon, everyone. I'm Sylvina Brooks-Powers, representing the 31st Council District. The revision of our city charter is a serious process that requires time and careful consideration. We know that by law, the Mayor's Commission has until Election Day 2025 to develop proposals. There is no good reason to hastily introduce and vote on a new proposal at this late stage. The revision process has long-lasting impacts on the lives of every person in our city. Rushing this process undermines the thorough public engagement and proper review necessary for changes that will impact our city's government for years to come. Historically, the charter reviews have taken several months, even years, to ensure meaningful public involvement. Yet, the Mayor's Commission is attempting to overhaul our city charter in less than 2 months, an unprecedented and undemocratic move. Furthermore, this rush process would block voters from deciding on the expansion of advice and consent for city agency commissioner appointments set for this year's ballot. Circumventing voters' rights in this manner is unacceptable. We must allow New Yorkers on this important proposal in the upcoming general elections to have their vote. The Mayor's Commission has also misrepresented the City Council's legislative process and public engagement efforts. Our council ensures robust public participation, often taking several months to review and consider public feedback on legislation. This democratic process is vital for informed decision-making and effective governance. I urge the Mayor's Commission to respect the democratic process, utilize the full term for a thorough review, and focus on producing thoughtful proposals for the 2025 general election. Let's allow New Yorkers to have their say on the existing advice and consent proposals this year and ensure any changes to our city charter are well considered and beneficial for our future. And with that, I'll turn it back over to the chairs.
Thank you, Majority Whip. We're just going by who we saw on the sidewalk first. So, Councilmember Abreu, did you want to say a few words?
Good afternoon, everybody. I'm Councilmember Sean Abreu from Uptown Manhattan. It is my honor to come all the way to Southeast Queens. Sylvina, come on, you're not paying attention. Southeast Queens loves. And we're here to fight for the integrity of government. Changing our city's charter is a very, very serious task. It offers the opportunity to make real changes to how we govern ourselves. And it demands months of planning, rounds of community feedback from New Yorkers. This is not a process to rush into blindly. Of course, we all know the reason this commission is scrambling: to keep advice and consent off the ballot. But advice and at each. Let's let the people decide in November, and we shall be unburdened by what has been, and that's this charter commission. Thank you.
Okay, we'll call up next Councilmember Pirina Sanchez from the Bronx.
Top there. I'm Councilmember Pirina Sanchez, representing the 14th Council District in the Bronx. 170,000 people. That's how many individuals each and every one of us who are here with you today represents. And I'm joining today's hearing to make sure to testify on behalf of that community that I represent, that when we edit a constitution, when we change the constitution of the city of New York, that is a serious process. So many of us have this experience that when we're walking down the street, we'll get pulled aside and we'll say, there's too much trash on this street. Or we'll be told, thank you, or we'll be told that there's not enough housing. We will be told that a particular school is not delivering for our children. Well, today the process is that we have hearings in the city council and we hold oversight, but the public and the city council, who is elected by the people, we don't actually have a say in who those What are you going to do with this agency that is so powerful over the lives of New Yorkers? But instead, we have the mayor putting on a charter revision commission for what it seems to be the only purpose is to keep voters from deciding that point, to keep voters from deciding whether we should have more public input into who runs our city government agencies, who runs thousands of employees that keep our city running. And so today I'm just a charter revision commission process this time around, and during the last month and a half, just about 2 months, to consider how to edit a constitution. A bill in the city council, as you heard our colleagues say, has an average of 6 months of public review before it can even come into law. And public safety legislation, over 500 days. That's almost 2 years of public input before it becomes law. And so we cannot change the city's constitution just because the mayor
Hi, y'all. Good afternoon. My name is Jennifer Gutierrez. I represent Council District 34, Bushwick, Williamsburg, and Richard and Queens. I'm also co-vice chair of the Progressive Vice Co-chair. Many of my colleagues have already said. To rush things other than to sweep things under the rugs, and the city council is here to push back and fight back and say absolutely not. Advise and consent is, yes, one of the bills that we will be testifying in support of, and why it's so important that we urge this administration and this Charter Review Commission to allow this thoughtful process to go through its due process, because what we are asking for, and we are doing what our constituents are asking for, is more democracy, more process. If we are the first women majority council, the first council to have the most people of color who have been historically disenfranchised, but we're here to say we're going to change that, then who are we if we're not saying we want to open up democracy even more? We want to create more accountability and more transparency. And this is why it's so easy for us to call out that this process has really been a sham for New Yorkers, because it's been so rushed. What is the reason that it's being so rushed? And that's why you'll hear from so many of my colleagues wanting to implore to New Yorkers and to the Charter Review Commission and this administration that it is imperative that we not rush this process, that we do exactly what we were sent to City Hall to do, which is to create more democratic processes, to allow for them to happen, to fight for more transparency at a time when this mayor keeps saying absolutely not. So we're hoping we can get more folks to testify as well in support of advise and consent and in support of what we're saying. And we look forward to hearing from the rest of the city. Thank you so much.
Thank you, Councilmember Gutierrez. We'll now hear from Councilmember Chiosei from Brooklyn.
Thank you. Good afternoon, good evening, everyone. My name is Councilmember Chiosei, and as Councilmember Hudson said, I represent Bed-Stuy and Crown Heights. I'm here today to say that we should be questioning the necessity and legitimacy of this entire process right now. I don't want to, echo many of the sentiments that my colleagues just said, but they're very important, and I do want to reiterate them. The council passed the advice and consent bill to expand oversight of the city's executive branch, of the mayor's work that he does, and to uphold our democratic process. Immediately thereafter, the mayor initiated this Charter Revision Commission, clearly as a cynical ploy to force the council's measure off of our November ballots. Whatever proposals ultimately come from this commission, we know that they are secondary to the commission's purpose of existence, to undercut the democratic process and the New York City Council. I know Councilmember Abreu made a reference to Vice President Harris, but I do want to shine a light on the fact that we are currently currently undergoing a national election against, Donald Trump, who is trying to uphold his authoritarian order and devalue our democratic process. And we do not want a mayor within the city of New York to do that same thing with the process that is undergoing right now. We have an obligation to call this out for what it is. It's a power grab. While charter revision commissions ordinarily take a year, this one took under 2 months. While this is meant to be a transparent process with sufficient public input, this has been rushed and opaque. We must not allow the will of the people and their democratic representatives to be overridden by the mayor of New York City. I know that the council will continue to exercise its duty as a check and balance on the power of the mayor of the executive branch, and we will call out attempts to subvert our duty. This commission should not exist in this capacity. Thank you all for being here today.
All right, we're getting through there. We're last two, Councilmember Julie Wan and baby.
Good evening. My name is Julie Wan, and I'm currently the council member representing the 26th District in Western Queens, Long Island City, Sunnyside, Woodside, and Astoria. And as you heard from many of my colleagues, the Charter Revision Commission must make a decision to choose either to undermine the will of the people and block their votes for this fall, or uphold the tenets of representative democracy, oversight, and our system of checks and balances. It is no surprise that advice and consent, this is really a tit for tat with the mayor. We have made a crucial decision to safeguard our democracy. Without it, the power of a government goes unchecked in the hands of a person or an entity, and city agency commissioners play a critical role in ensuring New Yorkers receive their city services as efficiently as possible. And advice and consent ensures commissioners are scrutinized in the public eye and approved based on their merit and qualifications and dedications to serve the public. So we are here in unison to say we cannot rush the revisions of the city charter to undermine this, and any added potential items will continue to be on the ballot that has been raised in a handful of sparsely attended public meetings to undermine our democracy, lacking robust engagement and any input from elected officials or community groups, and we cannot allow this to move forward. So simply put, there's no need to rush, and we cannot have this mayor give authorization to operate until Election Day in 2025. So I urge you to honor the will of the people and hold off on adding any new items to the ballot until November 2025. Thank you so much.
Thank you so much, Councilmember Wan. And now we'll hear from Councilmember Alexa Viles from Brooklyn.
Hey everyone, good afternoon. My name is Alexa Viles. I'm the council member for District 38, representing Sunset Park, Red Hook, parts of Borough Park, Bensonhurst, Bath Beach, Dyker Heights, and beyond. I'm here to echo, obviously, what my colleagues are saying, and I just want to underscore for all New Yorkers, the Charter Revision Commission is a very serious undertaking. It is the constitution of our city's government. And these council members are very serious in their responsibility of care for New York City. What we are asking for, as many administrations have done in the past, is a legitimate process, a process of interrogation, a process of deep thought, of meaningful engagement with all of our New York City residents, with our institutions, with our council colleagues, so that we come forward with recommendations that are meaningful and well thought through, that are not fear-mongering and based in fiction. I will say the proposals that are on the table right now are very much fiction and hyperbole based, but we are here governing with responsibility, governing with facts, and governing with intention. And that is what we expect from this process, our charter revision process. And those policies that are putting forward are at best have no real facts, are not really well thought through, and in fact are very undermining of democracy. And this council stands firm in saying you will not undermine democracy. You will not undermine our Constitution and our framework. We will ensure that the people's voice is legitimately heard. And lastly, our legislative process, while frustrating, to even many of us who have to engage on it on a daily basis, is full, it is robust, and it has much public engagement as a part of it. Anything short of that is being perpetrated is a mythology and is wrong. So I want to thank you so much.
Thank you.
All right. So closing us out for this portion is going to be my co-chair, Councilmember Shahana Hanif of the Progressive Caucus.
Thank you. Good evening, all. I'm Councilmember Shahana Hanif. I represent the 39th District neighborhoods in Brooklyn, and I'm co-chair of the Progressive Caucus. Look, everyone has shared how anti-democratic the Charter Revision Commission is. The mayor, the administration does not need to expedite the process to meet the August 5th deadline. It is contingent on us. It should be our responsibility to get the most feedback to make this process open so that all of our constituents from Brooklyn to Queens be able to participate in what is a serious business for this city. The public should have authority on how our city governs, and what is happening right now is a sham. We are rushing into what is absolutely heinous. This should not be the way in which the most progressive city does its business. And so I echo the calls of my colleagues. I'm proud that BLAC, the PC, has joined forces to push against this Charter Revision Commission. And we're going to be testifying inside to make sure that our voices are known, to encourage democracy, to say that, listen, our constituents should be able to join these conversations and determine what it is exactly that our city needs at this time. And as my colleague, Councilmember Avila, has mentioned, the recommendations so far are deeply dangerous to the cause of New York. Repealing protections of New Yorkers through the city council's ability to make laws is dangerous. What we might endure with the repeal of sanctuary status is going to absolutely put so many families in a precarious situation. And so I join my colleagues, and I'm proud that we're here, and we'll open up to questions.
So it's important to note that the sanctuary call for repeal of sanctuary was actually not part of the preliminary review, right? And it should not be part of this conversation, quite frankly, but it keeps coming up. So that's why I think we're addressing it. But one in particular, around the proposals for public safety, particularly in response to the How Many Stops Act that was passed. One of the proposals being put forward is this claim that there was no public review, and somehow that public safety recommendations require extra review, even more than the fact that this legislation has been in the works for years, has had hundreds of people in public engagement, from law enforcement to residents to the administration itself, who had been engaging in negotiating this legislation for months on end. So the claim is just simply false, that somehow public safety undefined, which could be everything from housing to immigration law to food, needs extrajudicial review, and that the mayor himself can do what he wants. We are a co-equal branch of government, and as such, as the legislative body, we reserve the right to put forward legislation through a legislative process, which is very deliberate. So that's one of them. Thank you.
We're going to take one photo together before we all